Alrighty, and we are live. Hello everyone on Twitch. Hello chat. Welcome to the Game Raven review Twitch stream. Today we are here with game developer Michele and Twitch streamer, model, all the above, Emerald Rays. And hosting today is kind of me and myself and I and Emmy. My name is Taz. I stream on Twitch. Emily stream on Twitch. Michele, how are you?
I'm pretty nervous. How are you?
I'm also nervous, but very excited. Very excited. Um, so, Decay and Us. That is your game.
Yes, so this is my second full-ish game. It's kind of like a puzzle platformer, like a Dark Souls-like game. You are Mila. She is stuck in a zombie-ridden city, and her goal is to collect 5 keys and make it to her safe haven. So it's just her and her trusty shotgun and lighter, and she has to make it through the city. Yes.
Fantastic. And I had the amazing opportunity to play the game and stream the game. It's difficult. It's hard. What was your quick inspiration on it? What did you find meaning in it?
So I was inspired kind of by Little Nightmares. I really liked the vulnerability that you had in that game. You didn't have any weapons or anything. You had to use your surroundings. But when I made my game, I realized that it was a little too difficult to have just you and a lighter. So I decided to add a shotgun later on.
As someone who's played it, I'm very thankful you added the shotgun in that.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to make it?
So I started in mid-August, and I had to take a about 2-week break in September to focus on my classes. And then I released the game in the end of October. So it took roughly around 1.5 months to 2 months. There was a lot of back and forth, putting in things, taking it out. But overall, it came out to a pretty nice and solid game.
Yeah, that's actually really quick because a lot of the developers that I've talked to before, they say a few years or something along those lines. So it seems like you really figured out what you were doing and streamlined it.
So it was a little bit quicker than the conventional game. Since it is only one level, it's not too big. There isn't too much going on. I did keep in quite a few bugs. I think you ran into a few on your stream.
I wasn't sure if it was a bug or if it was like intentional. Like the major obstacle on the ground floor is the garbage can, and the zombie managed to just straight up flip the garbage can over, and it prevented me from getting up onto the balconies. But I figured it out. But I thought that was just like a creative, like I thought that was like one of the fun bugs in there.
Yeah, so originally the dumpsters don't move. If a zombie runs up to it, they actually get stuck behind the dumpsters. So if you bring a zombie right up to the dumpster, that's kind of it. You have to restart the game. So I don't know why this happened, but the left dumpster, I thought it was the zombies at first that were just really strong, but it turns out it was just the left dumpster is super light, so the zombies can really just yeet the dumpster. I don't know why. I thought it was cool. I kind of like it, so I might keep it for the other dumpster.
Sure. It's a nice, it adds a nice little, like, something else to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, I think zombies can do that sometimes.
I mean, why not? They're already dead.
Yeah.
We have chat blowing up. Sneaky Devil says, the wife had a fat giggle listening to me rage at this. So good. A couple hours well spent. I'd simp. So, and I died 5 times in the tutorial. Like, did you have the intention for it to be difficult? Like when you first started, when you had your idea, your blueprints, was that just kind of what you were going with?
So my game, yeah, kind of. So I wanted it to be difficult since it was only going to be one level. I was like, I'm going to make this worthwhile. I want people to play this game for at least a little while. So I decided to make it kind of a bigger map than originally intended. So you kind of have to go all over the place to get the keys. I didn't think it was going to be this difficult, though. I guess it's a lot easier when you already know the map and you know how the game works.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That's true.
And Michelle, where are you from? Where are you based out of? Do you have a studio? Do you have a pad at all? Do you have a big team going on? Is it just you?
Well, I am based in Hawaii, and it is just me and my laptop.
Just
I wish there was a fancy office, but no.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have people saying we want a full game, not just one level. Is that in the works? You think you'll make a Decay 2 where it's just definitely more broad, more levels?
They don't want, they demand.
They demand.
They
yes.
demand. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wasn't intending to have a full game, but if there was a demand for it, if people really like the game and they wanted to see a more complete project,
Mhm.
then yeah, I'd consider working on it in the future, maybe fixing some of those bugs, creating more levels and more of a story behind the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, because they are full game when will a full game? Is there more? Bully Michelle daily. Full game win, full game shell. They want more. The people want more.
People want more. Well, I guess I gotta listen to them.
Yeah. That's amazing. What program did you use to make the game?
So I'm using Unity right now. I think I was using Unity 2019 for this project specifically. It's just a simple 2D project, and I wrote the code in C#.
Okay. If you were to make another game after this, do you think that you would still use that program or move on to something else?
So I would continue using Unity. I'm actually kind of playing around with some 3D games right now just to see which kind of dimension I like more. I think in the future, after I practice with Unity a little bit more, I'm considering switching to Unreal because I've seen a lot of professional production done with that engine.
Definitely.
So I'm considering switching to that. But we'll see how I feel because I really like Unity right now. I think it's really simple. It's really straightforward.
Yeah. Chat is saying 3D Decay in Us? Question mark.
Okay. I've never thought of that, but that could definitely be an option.
A little maybe 3D, little first person action. Question from chat. What are you in school for?
I am currently in school for cybersecurity. I am finishing up my associate degree this semester, and then I'm going to continue on with my bachelor's degree next semester. So it's been really difficult, and I kind of miss coding, but I'm having a lot of fun learning about cybersecurity right now.
Wow, that's something you don't really hear a lot. At least I don't. Just going to school for cybersecurity, that's wild. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, there's not a lot of people, but I thought it was really important, especially with using technology more and more every day. I think it's pretty important to learn how to secure our computers.
That's true.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely definitely one of those careers that I don't think anybody thinks about. It's just one of those things where you go on your computer and you expect things to work, but there needs to be people behind the scenes that kind of make things work.
Yeah, cybersecurity is actually pretty important because a lot of everyday users don't realize that their phones probably aren't secure. So I think it's really important to kind of bring awareness to society, to people.
For sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that you have a Decay in Us? Do you have any maybe related to cybersecurity? Maybe because there's a lot of games surrounding especially I see a lot of indie games kind of surrounding the idea behind a simple job, but it's like turned into a video game and adding a couple layers to it. Do you have a couple other ideas? I don't want to spoil anything if you have any big plans, but do you have plans in the works for other ideas for your game development in the future, or are you kind of just like got a Decay in Us and then you're kind of seeing how things go from there?
Yeah, so I'm kind of going with the flow, seeing what I like and what I don't like. Right now I'm playing around with a first-person shooter game. It's fun. It's pretty buggy still, but I was thinking, I'm still not sure if I'm going to do this for my next project, but I was considering kind of doing like a hide and seek game, but with guns and aliens. Yeah, just
Cool.
so many things going on. I don't know if it's outside of my skill level, but you'll never know until you try.
True. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it'll be really fun and like high adrenaline and stuff like that.
hmm hmm And Emmy, have you played the game at all yet?
I haven't gotten the chance to yet. I did catch a little bit of when you got to, but I definitely plan on it, and I will let you know if I do a stream on it. I'll let you know ahead of time.
Dope.
Yeah, so Decay is a pretty, I would say, somewhat user-friendly.
Yeah.
It's easy once you get a hold of it and you understand the controls. It's just, there's a light mechanic that I think people don't recognize at first, so they'll try to speed through the level without turning on the lighter at all. And then they'll just keep running into zombies because they don't see it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
Little tidbit.
Yeah.
I use the lighter to like lead the zombies to my direction because I mean I kind of like how you have like unlimited ammo. That was super helpful.
Yeah.
So you kind of definitely have to use the lighter to get around things, to make them fall, to make them go where you don't want them to go or where you want them to go. One thing I have a question about that I was like that kept making me die. I think it has something to do with the reloading. It made sense, but so zombies take 2 hits and then it's done, right? So the reloading, I kept dying in because shoot once, the range isn't huge, which I'm like that's it, which makes sense, and then I would like turn around and like bust cheek the other direction, but I'm taking a minute to reload, and if I didn't time everything right, I would be dead. I'm just like there are a lot of tiny details I feel like that are only appreciated when you like play the game, and like it was very it just made everything more and more difficult. That's why I'm like super like fascinated that you're a solo dev and you created all these things.
Yeah.
And I would want to ask you about like in terms of asset usage, music, art style. What were the kind of steps you took for that?
So I started off this game by just drawing a character. I downloaded, I think it's called Sprite or Sprite, something like that. It's just a little pixel art tool that you can use to draw pixel art. So I didn't have an idea for a game or anything. I just drew a character and I was like, wow, I really like the way she looks. She looks super cool. I'm going to keep her. And then from there, I just kind of created more pixel art. And then from there, I built a game off of the art. It was kind of,
Wow.
I don't think games are usually built that way, but I was really inspired by the art style. So all of the pixel art was drawn by me. There's a lot of retouching because nothing fit quite right. I don't really know how to make everything the right proportions just yet. I'm still getting used to that. And then the music was composed by One Man Symphony. I tagged him on my Twitter. So I found him on Reddit. He just advertised his music. He said it was for free use. Anyone can use it. So I listened to his stuff and it was really good. I felt like it really fit the vibes of my game. So I decided to use his music.
Nice. Wow, that is definitely something that I feel like we don't really see a lot in terms of platformer and indie games. They kind of use assets, which is like everything, like that's fine. That's just one way of doing it. But the fact that you built it from the ground up on your own and literally created the world that you envisioned is like spot on.
Thank you. Yeah, it definitely took a lot of retouching, a lot of putting in assets, realizing that they didn't look that good, having to take it out. It was just a lot of back and forth until finding pieces that fit together.
Yeah, for sure. Synthos on chat says, honestly, Mila looks like a badass. I can definitely imagine her surviving through a zombie apocalypse. And I agree. And
yeah, I'm hoping.
That's amazing.
I was originally intending to do a little animation sequence of her running into the city and then running away from zombies and just kind of getting the player to immerse with her a little bit, understand like where she's coming from. It turns out I don't know how to animate. This is all really new to me. Yeah, so I had to cut that out.
Dang, okay.
Maybe eventually you'll get
Eventually,
there for that. Yeah. So what do you think was the most difficult thing that you went through when you were putting the game together?
So since I'm a self-learned game developer, I haven't taken any classes on this. The hardest part was running into a bug that I just didn't know how to fix. Constantly, just every time I took one step forward, I just ran into 3 more bugs that took me 3 steps back. It was really difficult, and I got very frustrated several times. I had days where I just had to take a break from the computer, go on a walk, maybe even go to sleep after it. But it's just a lot of research, going to Stack Overflow, watching different YouTube tutorials, and trying to view it from a different perspective. Because sometimes you're trying to tackle this problem that isn't going to help anything, right? There's a bigger problem happening. And sometimes it just takes that night of sleep to really help you understand what your problem is, how to fix it. So it's definitely not like the lack of experience I have. It's still kind of hard for me to go out and know what I'm looking for, right, in terms of my bugs and stuff like that. But it's been fun. I've been able to overcome it eventually, so I know that it's possible. It's definitely helped me build the confidence in making future games.
That's awesome. That's also really probably inspirational to other people who have an idea in their head but don't really know what to do with it, don't know how to go about the technical part. So that's really good to know.
Yeah, definitely. Since, I've learned, because I always imagine game development to be something just so out there, something that I can never do that. It's gonna take a genius to be able to create a whole game. But I realized that you just have to put in the effort and just study, just do your research and just keep trying, even after you hit wall after wall after wall.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's something else to just kind of Sam Hip says yes, Stack Overflow is a lifesaver. Bugs are also the devil from Metal Max. So that's very, very, very interesting. And you said you started in August, you said?
Yeah, so this game started in August, but my whole game development career, I guess, started in late June, early July.
Oh, wow. So still, like, within the year.
Yeah, very new. I don't even know if it's been 6 months yet.
Holy moly. To just kind of, like, crank in 6 months of knowledge and then, like, spit out a game on top of that. A very good game with that is just, like, everyone's yelling Mountain Cat, which I'll definitely need to check out somewhere. Michelle, what's your favorite game?
My favorite game. I have been playing World of Warcraft a lot lately. I think it's really interesting. I like the lore. I like how there's just so many different aspects in the game. I personally like to do PvP more, but I really enjoy how you just have the freedom to do whatever you like to do. So if you want to go more into role playing, if you want to go into person or player versus player, or if you want to just enjoy dungeons and raids and stuff like that.
Chat wants to know Horde or Alliance.
Horde.
Yeah, my girl.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So, one question I did miss, back to your cybersecurity stuff. Pubmaster N wants to know, what security no-node do you see the most?
Security no-node?
Yeah. What's a practice that we can all do better at in terms of a society on their computers all the time?
Okay, so definitely don't click any links that you don't recognize, that you don't know. If you can, go to the website itself. It's also just important. I heard that social engineering, which means people, are the biggest flaws, the biggest error in cybersecurity. So that just means, don't tell people your password, no matter how comfortable you are with them. Don't let them into the building or anything if you don't know who they are. It's just about being confident with yourself and not letting anyone kind of manipulate you or talk you into letting you do something that breaks security rules.
Wow, yeah.
Also get a VPN. They're important.
Oh, get a VPN. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Not sponsored, but which one do you use ones that you would recommend?
Well, I use PIA VPN, PIA VPN, but I hear NordVPN gets advertised really often, so those two would be my recommendations.
Okay. So you can watch other countries' Netflixes.
Yeah, basically.
The chat saying. That's awesome. Now, Michele, do you feel that in terms of indie development, have you made any relationships with other small indie devs, solo devs, maybe even bigger? What's the world of an indie developer like, especially solo, in terms of the community?
In terms of the community, so I haven't really had the chance to really talk to the community too much, to the point where I've made any personal friends or anything. But since I've made my Twitter, the community itself has been extremely supportive. They're always liking and retweeting your video games and stuff. And I've gained a lot of followers just from a few months alone. So I think the community itself is really supportive, but as an indie dev, it's extremely important to really make yourself known. So that means constant posting, constant just talking to people and trying to make friends, because it's kind of a lonely world if you don't work with anyone, if you don't really know anyone. So it's about making online friends at this point.
Sure. Yeah, because it's let's see. Yeah, the world in terms of social media nowadays, it's definitely extremely helpful, but definitely stressful, time consuming to feel like you have to post every day. You're in school, part-time job, still building the game. Definitely not enough hours in the day, for sure.
Definitely. And I think it's kind of funny how social you have to be for game development, since most game developers, including myself, are pretty, socially awkward people who don't really know how to talk. So I think it's kind of funny how that's a really important aspect in this field.
Yeah. If you could give yourself advice, like something that you've learned along the way through making this game, what would you tell yourself when you first started?
Not to give up, because there's going to be several bugs, several walls, just a lot of self-doubt, I guess. But because of all the walls and obstacles I've overcome so far, I know that if you just keep persisting, if you keep trying, it'll work out eventually. Even if you have to take even a week or two break, it definitely helps to just keep trying and to just keep working at it.
Yeah, that's great. And then Puppet Master said, "We love how supportive the indie dev community is. We love helping people like you get the word out."
Yeah, so, you guys have been
definitely
super helpful with really boosting this game and getting the word out there that this game exists. I definitely wouldn't have tried as hard to make such a solid game if it weren't for you guys. Knowing that other people are out there and they actually see this game, it made me realize that, man, I have to kind of put an effort. I have to try to make this a really good game.
Yeah.
So it's a really supportive community.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, well, yeah, we saw what you're making. We love what you're making. We love you. We love everything that's the community is definitely, yeah, shout out to Game Raven. It's definitely, how do I put this? It's definitely I don't want to say tight knit, but you kind of really, like you said it's kind of social. We're a bunch of socially awkward people and making games and stuff. But like you really have to put yourself out there and like get these kind of these communities together, be a part of Discord servers, Twitter communities, things like that, to really kind of but it's amazing how, I mean, maybe you just mentioned in your experience that like people really love that stuff. People cling on to that. Someone puts their hand out, everyone's grabbing for it, because it's just we love the positivity. We love building people up in their creations, and everyone's saying we all love Michele. So there you go.
I love you guys too.
Do you have any advice for people in your position, any smaller developers or people that are just kind of like thinking about it but haven't made the official leap yet?
Mm-hmm. So I would say that game development does take commitment, but the cool thing is that because you can do it yourself, you can always research when you're even at work or something. You can just look up some things on your phone. It's just important to keep trying. So even if you only get 5 minutes of game development in that day, what matters is that you just keep putting in just those little pieces of effort. It really does build up to something bigger in the end.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great advice for anything, I think.
Yeah.
Use your time wisely.
Mm-hmm. There's been a few YouTube videos or YouTube channels that I like to watch that really help motivate me. The first one is Thomas Brush. He's really just motivational. He helps remind developers that it's okay to feel like it's really hard and challenging and you want to give up, but that you just have to continue going on with the game, continue developing, because it's worth it in the end. I enjoy watching Danny. He's just, I think he's a Norwegian developer. He just kind of shows his efforts and his attempts and failures at the game to show that everyone makes mistakes. And I also like watching DevDuck because he's really good. He's just super motivated to work on everything and anything. He wakes up at like 5 a.m. to work on his game, and then goes to work all day and then works on his game at night. And I'm really inspired by his lifestyle. I wish I could do that.
So you were definitely, you felt motivated by the kind of doing the research, looking at other people doing what they're doing. Do you think that there was kind of a mental stress in terms of timeline as you were kind of building this game, or do you like it was one of those things where maybe you didn't tell anybody yet, but you'll like keep it to yourself, or did you tell everybody that's coming out to kind of keep you motivated, keep you doing the work that you're doing?
Yeah, so at first it was just me kind of working on it in secret, not really talking to anyone about it. And then eventually I decided to release the game at a certain point. And I realized that I'm going to have to start advertising the game just a little bit just to get out there and to also motivate me to finish the game. So once it was announced that I was releasing the game, that's when I realized, oh man, wait, I got to finish this. And I still have so many things to do, so many things to fix. When I first planned to release the game, my zombies could still fly. They could just like swoop down at you. Yeah, so I was originally going to leave that in because I was thinking, I think it'll be fine. But after a few playthroughs, I realized that it's a pretty detrimental bug. Yeah. So there's a huge time crunch when I realized that I had to fix that bug specifically. It was just constant working at it, trying to figure out how to fix it and hoping that I could finish it before I was supposed to release the game. But thankfully, I did it.
Good. Syntho says flying zombie hardcore mode. Extreme mode. Put that. Yeah. Give them wings and leave it in there is what the chat wants.
If the chat wants it, yeah, I can add flying zombies.
Super swole flying zombies and no shotgun.
Yes. Yeah, extreme mode.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy. That's awesome. And so is the game out?
Yes. So the whole game is out. It's only one level. It's really quick. It's really short. If people really want a full game and they want a more developed story, then I might consider taking it back and then really reworking the game to create a whole story and maybe releasing it next year, give or take. Depends on how big I want the game to be.
Sure, sure. And how long has it been out for already? I forgot to look at the
released
date.
it. Yes, I released it, I think, the day before Halloween. So
Okay.
it's been about 2 weeks, I think. Yeah.
And have you seen in the last 2 weeks? Have you seen a lot of support for it? People getting it and liking it. What has been your point of view in terms of the first 2 weeks of release?
So I've actually seen several people download the game, and it's definitely been people outside of my friend group. I've seen people play the game, call it a Dark Souls-like genre game, and I thought that was really cool how these people are playing my game. I don't know who they are, and they're liking it. So I thought that was really crazy. I definitely received a lot more support and a lot more people playing the game than I had anticipated.
That's awesome. Going back to what you were saying about developing a full story, developing a full game, all of that, do you kind of have a storyline in mind? Or is that something that you kind of hadn't thought through quite yet since you only plan to release the one level?
So I have kind of a vague general storyline already kind of set up in my mind, but I don't have anything set in stone. I don't have any really detailed plan just set yet.
Yeah.
I originally was planning on going with a different direction when I first started making this game. So I had a whole storyline set up for that. But since my game kind of went into a different direction, that doesn't really apply anymore.
Well, that just
But
means that you can make the other game now, too.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
Synthos wants to know, what are your processes when you start making a game? Do you set objectives or do you just go with the flow?
So it's a little bit of both. I definitely have a plan at first, or at least a goal. So for this game, my goal was to work on a light mechanic. I wanted to introduce lighting into my game and introduce a mechanic that required lighting. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to get that lighter to turn on and off and how to get it to kind of aggro the zombies. So that was my goal for this game. It was just a light mechanic, but it was also kind of like a go with the flow, eventually adding a shotgun, and just adding different things, seeing what really fits. I think an important aspect in game development is kind of letting the game take you where the game wants to go. If you try to hold on to a mechanic or to something and the game is just kind of telling you that it's not going to fit, there's just too many things conflicting with that, it's important to know when to let things go and to just kind of go with the flow.
Okay, so like a little bit of both. You have to have a nice balance. Okay, that's awesome. Sam Hip wants to know when you're putting in ray tracing.
I have ray tracing for my gun. And I think that's it. I don't really have ray tracing in the game too much, but I'm trying to add that for my future games. I think it's just a little more optimal.
Sure. One thing that really scared me to death was when I was playing the game, I went far right. I just kind of kept walking to see if you had the map loop itself or if there would be an end to it. And I came across this fence with a bunch of zombies on the other side, and it freaked me out. I wasn't sure if that I did something. I busted cheek the other direction, but so it was good to know that there was an end to it and it wasn't looped, because the mapping is very interesting. It's for one level, it's a very interesting map. It's just kind of, you have to really kind of figure out where you're going. So I thought that was interesting. So it definitely brought some horror to my gameplay of it.
Yeah, I was actually surprised with how many people got scared by the fence zombies, because I just kind of placed it there so people wouldn't go too far. But a lot of people got scared by it and they thought it was like a mechanic or something that you had to do with it.
Oh,
No, it's just a wall.
I'm glad. I'm glad I wasn't the only one because that was horrifying. Um. Mixed Strike wants to know if there will be an open world Decay in us.
I have been thinking about making an open world in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, that's definitely not in my plan. I heard open worlds are really difficult to make, and I want to make a game that involves a systematic future, so everything kind of relies on one another, and if you do one thing, it affects another thing. So if I were to do an open world game, that would take a really long time to develop. So I don't think I'm quite there yet.
Sure, sure. Will there be other types of uh, will you make different types of games other than like kind of an indie horror game? Will you make something? What's in your mind when you kind of look to the future of that?
So right now, I'm just trying to test the grounds with anything I can. So I am trying to develop different genres. I'm planning on doing first-person shooter, open worlds in the far future.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, cute little games where you're like a little mushroom or something. I just kind of want to test out the playing field and see what type of game I like the most.
Nice. Well, I think you really hit it off with a Decay and Us. Definitely a very good start to your awesome journey. Not including Mountain Cat. Would like to check that out for sure. Puppet Master wants to know: do you think you will be always? Will you always be solo? Will you gather a team, or sub out work in the future?
So right now, this is still just a hobby. I'm still trying to figure out what do I want to do for a career. I think I would be interested in either putting together a team or working at a already well-known studio. I think it's really interesting to just understand different aspects of game development between working alone and working with a team and just seeing what do you like more. Because you have more freedom as a solo developer, but that also means you have to do everything yourself and you also have to hire people and you just kind of have to focus on the business and everything, right? Where in working a team, you just have to focus on your part and then you're kind of told what to do. So I think it's interesting to try out both fields or both types of game development.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right on. Yeah, because you mentioned that you commissioned the music for it. So okay, got it. People are saying that they want you to hire them, so you already got people there lined up. So
Nice.
Yeah, you definitely have a great start to everything, and and Emmy can probably agree with me on this one. 6 months, not a long time, but you've already whipped out awesome stuff.
Yeah, you should definitely be proud of your timeline.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm honestly really surprised at how far I've come. I thought I would be just making really simple, like jumping platformer games, but I'm already here making a whole shooter game, and people compare it to like a Dark Souls genre game, which is just really crazy.
That's awesome. Emmy, do you have any? We might wrap things up here pretty soon. Emmy, do you have any final thoughts for Michele at all?
I don't think I have any more questions. I'm just really excited to get in there and give it a try and see what my chat thinks about it. And I'm really excited for you. I think that you're doing amazing. And the fact that this is only your second first real project after your initial hack that you took at it, it's just really impressive. So great job.
Thank you.
Freaking superb. Michele, where can the people find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Michele Keahe, MiCheleKeahe.
Dope. So, A Decay in Us is out. We do have one more question from chat. What is your opinion on roguelike mechanics? really quick, because I feel that's a growing concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I really like that a lot. It's not something that I'm particularly good at developing myself, but I think it's really interesting, and I like that it's a growing field. I'd like to play some games like that.
For sure, for sure. Well, Michele, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the amazing game. A Decay in Us is out. You can find that on itch.io under her page. I'm sure you have that linked in your Twitter.
Yes.
And we here at Game again will be at your back your whole journey, and we're looking forward to everyone saying Michele 2024. You'll rule the world with your amazing ideas. They all love you. We all here at Game Raven love you. So thank you so much for your time. For those of you on Twitch in the chat, here at Game Raven, we started a podcast. Our first episode recorded today. If you follow us on Twitter or any other social medias, that will be out soon on anywhere you can find podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, things like that. I don't know what the topic was, but we'll find out. And then the next interview will be Sunday, November 22nd. Mark your calendars with Princess Castle Quest. So look forward to that. Mark your calendars. Get a Decay in Us. Prepare to be having a wonderful time and shooting up some zombies. Michele, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Take care.